welcome to Footprints in the Market. Today we have Adam Gaskell, who is the head of marketing within the UK for Kindred Group. Welcome, Adam. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
So, what we thought we'd do is if you could just give us a little bit of background to yourself, your role within Kindred, and just your experience within the iGaming industry when it comes to marketing.
Yeah, no worries at all. My name's Adam. I joined Kindred Group in July 2016. So I've been here, just shy of 8.5 years. I started off as an affiliate manager and sort of worked my way through affiliates in the digital marketing space, and then had this role as head of UK marketing since April this year. Prior to that, I worked at Pinnacle Sports as an affiliate manager, and then prior to that, way back when, I was actually an affiliate myself. So the affiliate world was very much my bread and butter and my entryway into the gaming industry. So yeah, I think I've been around for about 15 or so years now, from affiliate all the way through to now. So
a whole spectrum of iGaming
industry. Yes.
Okay, awesome. Well, within Kindred, what we've noticed is one of the things that you guys are brilliant at is sponsorships and partnership marketing and kind of really making those work. So obviously, we're based in Scotland, so we are incredibly familiar with one of your sponsorships with Rangers FC.
Yeah.
So what I wanted to ask straight off the bat is obviously Glasgow is definitely a wee bit divisive when it comes to football. So typically, not always, you're like one side or the other. So like when I was young, it's hilarious actually. I was always told by my dad, if anybody asks you what team you support, he's like, say Partick Thistle, don't say in case you get into a fight. So what I was wondering was if you guys worried about alienating part of Glasgow or the Scottish player base by choosing one of the dominating teams, or how you've navigated that and the thought process behind it.
Yeah, I mean, Rangers are one of Europe's biggest football teams. We've
Yeah.
had a long, proud relationship with the football club, which spans over 10 years. We've witnessed them through the highs and the lows of football. We've seen them through relegation, promotion, European football, cup wins, etc. For us, it was a great opportunity to get a footprint within a big football club. Rangers was obviously available. We're very proud to partner with their club. Unfortunately, obviously, it's not going to work with sponsoring both, but we're very happy that we managed to maintain our relationship, and we've just actually extended our contract with Rangers till 2029 now. So it will be 15 years by the time that partnership will have finished. So it's been a long, successful journey. So looking forward to continuing with them.
Well, I think that's one of the questions we actually had for you. Obviously, it's been a hugely successful partnership in the sense of its tenure. So it's been what you're just saying, it'll be like 15 years by the time even that contract's over. How do you continue to keep things fresh within that and acquire new players? Is there ever a point where you think, oh, do you know what, we're going to have exhausted this database, or what's your thought process behind that?
I don't think any necessary brand play should resort in direct acquisition, and it's certainly not something that we measure as a success of our sponsorships, like this in through acquisition.
Yeah.
It's obviously a very big brand play for us, and getting Unibet 32 Red on the wider map within the UK, getting customers or potential customers more familiarised with our brand as a trustworthy brand. Hopefully, with the initiatives that we sort of execute through our sponsorships, that also helps. But I don't think that we would see, right, we haven't seen X amount of accounts. This sponsorship is no longer, worth it. It's not that. It's purely a brand play with obviously
Yeah.
the rest sort of added on. But no, it's not something we'd look at a direct acquisition sponsorship, for example. So.
I think as well, I'm just kind of going by what I know about the partnership. I'm guessing that there are a big pushes towards building your brand as some brand that cares about responsible gambling, which links in quite nicely with Responsible Gambling Week. Obviously, you've got your 0% mission. It's like one of the first, for a sure, I think, sort of advertising messages within the UK that's had that sort of safer gambling message. So I don't know, like tell us a wee bit about your overall strategy on that and why that's been such an integral part of your campaign.
So by using the 0% mission, we've obviously been able to open up the conversation on safer gambling with fans and punters more easily. It's in the front of shirts, in the front of people's minds. Fans are quite inquisitive about what it actually means, and when we were able to explain to them what our initiative is, it's a great conversation for us to have. We ensure that fans are aware of the variety of safer gambling tools that we offer and are available to them, to make sure that they're always in control of what they do on our sites, and we are seeing the benefits of that work as well. So 4 years ago, I think, beginning of 2020, around 40% of our player base in the UK were using voluntary safer gambling tools, and that's now nearer 75%, which is obviously great. And it's hopefully with this initiative of having 0% mission, not only on Rangers but also on Middlesbrough as well, that is helping, allowing customers to understand more what our 0% mission is, which is to have 0% of revenue generated by harmful gambling.
And I think you guys are really, really transparent in that data as well. Do you not sort of issue like quarterly reports and that kind of stuff, and then give people that visibility and transparency on kind of what you're doing, and how far you're progressing on that mission?
Yeah, so the quarterly report's available on Kindred Group PLC. So we've seen real success over the past 4 years of having that percentage of harmful gambling, so from high to medium to low risk. Like I say, it is presented on there on a quarterly basis, and it's something we're very proud of, and we feel like it's a great initiative, and it's something for us to really champion and go out there and use as part of our sponsorships.
I think that's the thing, and I think that there are sometimes like negative connotations when we are talking about like gambling brands attaching themselves to football and, well, I suppose any sports. Do you think that kind of campaign and that kind of safer gambling message actually, it takes the heat off gambling brands a little bit? It helps create a more positive narrative of what we're trying to do.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different sponsors associated within football that have negative connotations. Gambling obviously is always under the microscope, and I think that as an industry, as a collective, the work that has been done across the board over the past sort of five or so years, maybe even longer, has sort of shown that we are willing to provide a much safer environment for customers to have their entertainment on our sites, and publicise that a little bit more. And it is, given how big football is, it can be quite hard to paint that picture. But I feel like we've done a really good job. We obviously have a percentage of our advertising now which promotes safer gaming tools and the 0% mission. We have it on our LED as well at football games now. I think we have 25-30% of our advertising dedicated to safer gaming. So, we're really making sure that what we put in front of people is effective in terms of safer gambling.
And I think you're quite holistic in your approach towards this as well, because kind of going back to Rangers, I know you kind of do a lot of work with the charity foundation within that Team Talks, which has that mental health focus. How important do you think it is to work that kind of closely with the club, so you're actually partnering? It's not just a sort of logo on a shirt. It's more a community impact, a community focus within that, and kind of get to grips with what they're looking to achieve and helping them do that.
Yeah, I mean, we always make sure with any sponsorships that we support the wider communities that they sit in. So with Rangers, for example, like you say, every Wednesday 6:00, there's a 2-hour session, team talk for mental health up in Glasgow, not specific to Rangers fans, but an initiative that the club provides to local supporters or anybody within Glasgow, and lots of other sponsorships and clubs and do similar initiatives for different things. And I think one of the things that we're proud of the most is that it's not just a logo on the front of the shirt, as you've mentioned, or an LED. We buy into the club, into the family, into the partnership, which is exactly what it is. We want to support people in and around the football clubs or the race courses or whatever it is that we're doing. So it isn't just about putting a sticker on something. It's about being part of the family and the wider piece around it.
Well, I've obviously focused quite a lot in Scotland and Glasgow since it's my hometown, but as you mentioned earlier, you guys also, you're partner with Middlesbrough. then championship team. Can you tell us a wee bit about that? You know, your thought process behind that, the strategies behind that, and what you've kind of got coming up with it?
Yeah, so Middlesbrough is at the front of shirt sponsorship in the UK. They're obviously a massive club. They do a lot of good work with their foundation as well. In addition to Rangers and Middlesbrough, we also have Leeds as a training partner. And again, another fantastic club that we work with that has a big family and a big database that we can share responsible gambling messages and work with them to do, supportive content and harmful gambling awareness or anything that they're doing as part of the wider community. And then obviously outside of football, we have Seven Barrows, which is Nicky Henderson's stable in racing. We have the Unibet Champion Hurdle sponsorship. At Cheltenham, we have Queensbury boxing stable sponsorship, which has the likes of Tyson Fury, Daniel Dubois, Joseph Parker, and then recently we did the British Open snooker. And,
Yeah.
we have loads. We have Raven Chapman. We've got a lot of sponsorships, and again, we adapt to similar philosophy not only in football but across all sports. And I think one of the most recent racing examples I can give is that last week at Cheltenham, as part of our sponsorship, we gave tickets to the Gloucester and Cheltenham hospitals for staff there to go and enjoy a day out of the races and stuff. So we always try and tap into the communities around our sponsorships, whether that is football or outside of that, and try and work with them in the community.
You mentioned about the Unibet British Open. I'm a big fan of that sport. So what I was actually going to ask is, what are the main differences? I know you said that you've got the same sort of ethos, irrespective of whether it's like football, snooker, horse racing, or whatever. But are there any differences in terms of how you activate the sponsorship? If it's like snooker as opposed to football, for example.
So we have had snooker patches before, but we've never been a sort of title sponsor of an event. So we didn't really know what to expect to come into it. But the guys at WST are fantastic, and we've worked with them all. They're sort of part of their overall branch, Matchroom. Matchroom with darts, and we know that they do a fantastic job, and they're very good at bringing sports which may be seen to be going into decline or not with a younger audience, and sort of promoting that, which was really interesting for us. In terms of amplifying that, it was held at Cheltenham Racecourse, which we have a sponsorship with, and we managed to do some content with Nico de Boinville and Mark Allen there. And obviously, with it being on terrestrial television, you always have the opportunity to have mass audience numbers, and to have your brand there is very, it's obviously very strong. But snooker is something we have dipped our toe in the water. Like I say, we have patches on players there, and Mark Allen is our ambassador on 32 Red. But yeah, it's exciting times, and I think, judging by the plans that WST have got for snooker, that it's really going to take off again, and something we're interested in to continue moving forward.
And in terms of like your future plans out with like football, obviously we mentioned quite a lot there. One of the things we get asked quite a lot, agency side, is about the inclusivity of our market, and particularly when it comes to sport and investment into women's sport. Obviously, you guys have done, given sort of women's boxing a big boost in terms of signing some of those on. And I was just wondering if that was part of your decision to, we need to invest into women's sport, and just a little bit more about that agreement and how that came about.
Yeah, well, women's sport obviously very important to us. Actually, only last week we sponsored the Northern Ireland netball team, so that's something we were really proud of, and we're proud of our work in the women's boxing space as well. So we have Raven Chapman, Ellie Scottney, and Nina Hughes as ambassadors. We signed them on a 12-month deal back in February this year, and it was a big deal for us and shows our commitment to using our sponsorships for good. It's important to send a signal that Kindred believes in investing in British sports and applies to everybody, and we'll support them as we do any other boxer or any other sponsorship. And we're delighted to be involved and proud to commit to that that's rising in popularity. So it's something we're very proud of.
Excellent. And we talked a little bit earlier about, like you kind of use your sponsorships. You're not expecting huge levels of acquisition for it, or, that's certainly not the target for it. What are your KPIs surrounding your sponsorship decisions? Is it, brand mentions? Is it, social following? Is it, how do you measure success and what does that look like for you?
I think it depends on what the sponsorship is, obviously, whether it's a tournament or a longer term sponsorship. But I think anything for us that shows long term ambition, I think we're moving away from the sort of ad hoc sponsorships and committing to longer term investments, not only with the partnership, but the people involved in that partnership. So we look at brand uplift studies and brand share of search results and everything. And I think a lot of the time for us, like snooker being a good example, the plans WST have got to elevate that sport moving forward, and the ideas they've got is really exciting for us. And I think as long as the ideas are fresh and the ambitions there, then we'll always be interested in what's available, as long as it fits within our ethos. But yeah, I mean, I think the main thing is the ambition and the trajectory of the sport or the sponsorship. And it's really interesting to hear when you sit down and hear these pitches or propositions, from football clubs or race courses or whatever it might be, as to what their plans are moving forward. And if that aligns with what our vision is as a company, and particularly in the UK, in my position, then that's something we'll always be interested in.
Do you think further down the line, sponsorship marketing is going to become a bit more difficult as our legislation gets a bit more stringent? Obviously, we've kind of got the EPL front of shirt that's going to be banned. How far along that is in Scotland, I'm not sure. So, how do you see that going, and how do you see Kindred navigating that?
It's obviously hard. There's, like I said earlier, a massive microscope on our industry about sponsorships and how it's perceived to the wider audiences. But I think calls for a complete blackout of gambling operators in sport is, we missed the point of what we're trying to achieve. Further restrictions would put all the work we've made to make sponsorships more responsible and promote healthier behaviour, put that to waste. And instead, me and our safer gambling messages, 0% mission initiatives and stuff, no longer possible. And we support those football clubs financially, or any sponsors. Everybody, I think anybody within our industry knows that the online gaming sector pay a premium for these sponsorships, and we do try and make the most of the good work that we do. And we're seeing more and more now as well. In the Premier League in the UK, companies being able to advertise that don't allow UK customers to register with them, and there is something there for it to be better legislated. But I think banning gaming completely or online gaming companies to be able to promote isn't exactly the answer. We have seen encouraging answers from brand messaging for safer gambling tools, and like I say, things like the 0% mission. So I hope it doesn't go down that route, but we can only do what we're in charge of, which is to make sure that our customers and our potential customers know that we're a safe environment to play with and experience, and work with the football clubs and ensuring that's marketed and put across correctly.
I think you're 100% right. I think there's like a balance to be struck, and I think that an overall gambling, but you're right, it just won't work because it's going to happen anyway. So why not promote that it's done, in a responsible way, and use the gambling brands to actually allow you to push that message?
Yeah. I mean, we can work with the clubs to make sure that we're doing everything we can. But there's a lot of good things for advertising within the online gaming space in terms of safer gambling. We've seen success for Heineken moving into Heineken Zero, Guinness to Guinness Zero, in other sports in different sectors. And I think as long as it's a collaborative effort, then there's no difference for betting operators, and we should be looking to challenge ourselves to do better. But that's why a model of sponsorship is so important, is to make sure we are doing the best that we can, and ensuring our advertising is as safer gambling orientated as possible.
On that, is there a particular campaign or sponsorship that you're most proud of, at Kindred, that you're tying there? Is there anything that you remember and think, oh wow, we did a good job there. We got great results from
Not specific. We can't pick one specific campaign. For example, in horse racing, we have a really great initiative that we support heavily called Women in Racing, which which is to educate and empower stakeholders within the racing community about motherhood and parenthood and diversity and everything else. And that's something that, our head of global racing, Ed Nicholson, is driving really well. And we're seeing really good feedback off the back of that. I don't think I could pick one out from all the different ones that we've done, but that one is something more recently that we've seen positive, experiences of, and something that we're very proud of.
And on the flip side of that, we've been asking all of our guest speakers on Footprints in the Market the same last question, which is, if you were to give somebody any piece of advice that is starting out in the iGaming industry and marketing, what would it be and why? No pressure, actually. This is where we get our sound bites.
Obviously, marketing spans over a wider remit, but obviously, I started in affiliates. Value over volume, I think.
That's a good one. In fact, you know what? I think we'll call the episode that. That's the title.
I'll let somebody else be the guest speaker.
Okay, perfect. Well, listen, thank you so much. I really appreciate you sharing all your insights with our listeners. I'm sure that they've got some great takeaways there and some good stories and some good information in terms of sponsorship marketing as a whole, because it is evolving so quickly and there is so much to take into consideration. It's a much larger topic than, I suppose, what we can allow for Footprints in the Market just now. But we really appreciate it. Thank you so much, Adam.
Thank you, Sharon. Cheers for having me on. Thank you very much.